of science fiction.
Hello and welcome to another series. Right, we've just got through 10 episodes of Picard, either monotonous or you enjoyed it. Now we're going to be on about the big one, Strange New Worlds. So welcome to this review. Yesterday I got to see it. I was going to do this last night, but I watched it again just to confirm a few things. There's a lot going on in this episode. They brought a lot together. There's a lot of past canon in this. There's some nice little hints and Easter eggs, but overall the story was very good. I have to say, and people have already been complaining about the Samuel Kirk character, about when he died on that planet in Operation Annihilate with his family, and right, well, this is obviously before, so it's, look, let's see what they do with the guy. Do you know what I mean? But I did watch a couple of reviews last night, and some people are not happy about this. Didn't bother me. It's, you know, Star Trek and canon, it is all over the place. I suppose you have to work it out in your own way to what's acceptable. I mean, they've changed the eugenics wars on how many occasions. It was in the 90s, now it's in the 21st century with Picard. I mean, I don't know. But all this will play out over time, and they'll go back to canon whenever a new series comes out to keep that connection. I like the thing of the shuttlecraft Stamets, because obviously everybody thinks everybody on Discovery is dead, and it's covered up and classified. I like the USS Archer. I mean, there's all these nice subtle hints in there. I did like how this started. It reminded me of Captain Kirk when he's in the Nexus cooking breakfast. I got that sort of feel when Pike's cooking breakfast for his lady friend, this other captain, and it just reminded me of that feel. Pike he seems to be a bit damaged after what he saw of his future on Boreth. It's affected him. I really like that when he sees reflections, he sees himself in that wheelchair with the radiation, what happens to him. And this is a man that has to live with this. Now, I did feel, because every time he looks at a pad, he sees that reflection. But it was an officer that came out with something about dying and having to living your life that sort of inspired him back into action. Now the episode starts off great. A very Earth-type civilization. They see a starship in orbit coming to their world because Starfleet's detected a warp signal. So they go and investigate first contact protocols, and it's great. And I have to say, I really did enjoy this. I'm going to say, I think Anson Mount has nailed this as Captain Pike. For the first time since Discovery started, I felt like I was watching a proper episode of Star Trek. You know, I really did. I mean, I went back. Normally I watch Discovery and just watch it once. It's same with Picard. I watch it once, but as soon as I watched this last night, I had to watch it again. Now, I just love this old first contact protocol thing with this race, and there is a lot of similarities. I'm not going to go into it, but with certain political situations today, and I found this episode just dealt with a situation where all this is going. So we get to see Spock's wife, T'Pring, who, she starts having it away with Ston in a couple of years' time. She's a bit naughty. she's right, she just wants to stay on Vulcan. But of course he's called out into the galaxy, because it's his manifest destiny. Spock. We see Uhura. Nice to say Mr. Kyle. We've got Carnoonian sings one of his descendants. It's going to be interesting. There is, some beautiful moments of canon in this episode. There really is. I did like Rebecca Romijn. She's marvellous as number one. We did get to see the Andorian. I think he's blind. He's in next week. So it's coming together. I think probably episode 1 and 2 will it'll be like, it's going to be quite connected. We start seeing the other cast members, seeing the chapel. We get these little backgrounds on them all. But it's Pikey, he's a tortured man, and I found that interesting that he's got to live his time out now to make the most of it. And the situation on the planet, Starfleet sends a starship with just 3 crew members for a first contact protocol, a General Order number 1. And obviously they get captured, and it all comes out that when they were fighting Control and all them ships and warp signatures and that big time hole, wormhole into the future, when it all opened up, this world with their telescopes got to see the entire battle, and they reversed engineered antimatter technology, or basically they created a primitive warp drive, but they turned it into a bomb to wipe out the other faction on the planet. Now, like they go and investigate, a lot of running about, and it is good. It's funny. There's some funny humour. Even Pecker's Spock, I have to say, he's nailed it. You just adapt to these characters straight away. And I found this more relatable than Star Trek Discovery. The minute this started, I was connected, and that's what I liked. And it's the right premise, the captain in the centre chair and the crew around him. That's how it always worked, and it's how it should be. And everybody gets a fair amount of time. We're getting to know the characters. There's a lot going on in episode 1. I went back twice last night because I really enjoyed it. But Pike's a bit of a maverick as well, and that's what I quite like about this. Because when he goes down to the planet, they dress up as aliens. Now, people are going to say they could never beam down, have the clothes beamed on them, and all this. It's episode 1. Obviously, things are going to be explained. And, they might have changed a few things, like the speakerphone on the communicator. But when they get caught on the planet by the aliens, Pike just says, "Take me to your leader," and he stood in front of their president or prime minister, and she's going, he's coming out, well, debate, and you need to communicate, because if you don't, there's going to be nothing left. And she's going, "Oh, how noble." And she's actually countering what he's saying. And she says whoever has the biggest stick wins. And then they're going to take him away. And then he calls out voice activation on his communicator. And he orders the Enterprise to come into orbit into the planet. And it's hovering over the city. They're all shitting themselves. And he turns around and says, "Well, it looks like I've got the biggest stick," which, And I just love that scene. So Baines obviously goes back up to the ship, and they're arguing on the ship, saying, "Look, you can't. What you've done, you can't interfere in this culture." But he said they've got warp drive, and they're going to annihilate themselves. And one of his officers says something about living your life to the full and death, if you know what's coming. And he looks at it and he goes, "What did you say?" And then he realises that, these people have a chance. So he says, "Beam me down to the planet, give me a communication straight into their media system." And it's a great scene where they're all having this big conference with other side, these two factions on this planet. And he beams down, and he just stands. They're like stunned, and he just says, "Oh, all right, sorry. I'm just beamed in." And it was marvellous, like, because they're just overwhelmed. And he says, "Look, we're not perfect, but we've got a dodgy past." And there were civil riots and eugenics wars, and then World War III. And it was all about civil rights and who this lot are right and that lot are right. And yeah, I know what's best for you. And he really goes into it, but it shows where it all goes. Complete annihilation of the earth, basically. We got to see it, and it was very powerful. Now, I spoke to somebody last night on Facebook, and she said to me, she said it's very reminiscent of what's going on today. And because when I watched that scene where he's telling, "Do you want to end up like this? Because this is where it's all gonna go. Whoever gets the biggest stick, you need to work your differences out." And basically the whole planet sees this, and he shits the entire planet up because they don't want to. They're all like, we didn't ask for any of it, because this is where they're going. And obviously they leave the planet, and he says, "Do you want to join the Federation? A better way." And there's a great scene where the aliens on the phone look at the starships and Spock, and they're analysing the technology. Because this race grasps technology very quickly. If they could see that, what they saw through a telescope, and they created a warp drive a century before they were even meant to do it. So it says a lot about them, and he tells them this, and it seems to have worked. I mean, sometimes probably need that in this world. He just beamed down and he said, "Look, this is what'll happen." And watching this, I felt finally we're getting Star Trek. Because Star Trek is open to interpretation, but it always leaves the memory of something intelligent to debate. Over the years, there's been classic episodes like "Let This Be Your Last Battlefield" that dealt with civil rights, but in a very clever way. There's these awesome, incredible episodes that just stay with us, that define who we are. Now, this is only episode 1, so I'm not going to get the banner out and jump all over the place just yet. But I found for the first episode, this were exemplary. Now, a lot of people are going to think, "Oh, well, there was some woke scenes in it, or there was some of this in it." No. For me, I don't think in them terms. I'm looking for that thing that's going to make me think about it, and this did. It was just an exemplary first episode. But like I said, I'm not going to start waving the flags. I think the casting for this, Anson Mount has just nailed it, and you can tell he's having a good time doing it. He's enjoying playing Captain Pike, and Captain Pike is the legend in Star Trek circles. Finally, we get the crew before Kirk. We even get to see Admiral April, original Captain Enterprise. I mean, they've done well. There's going to be some mistakes. There's going to be a few points people are going to forget. But for the first episode, I watched this twice last night, and I loved it. I hope we're on to something good. Finally, we're going to get the full effect of Star Trek. Picard yesterday, I was in and out on it. It wasn't bad, but it could have been more. But this, Star Trek Strange New World, just shit all over that, and it's shit all over Discovery. There was more in this for me in one episode. This is what it's about. Let's hope we get this every week. Alright, there will be a bad episode, no doubt, what we'll all moan about. But for a start, I thought this was great. I would have liked to have had an hour and a half pilot movie. But there's a lot in this, and it's enjoyable. And how they're putting the backstories for the cast members is really good. So that's my thoughts on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It's a good start. Let's see where it goes. So guys, I will see you next week. We survived Discovery, we survived Picard in its moments, and hopefully we might be on to the thing where we've got Star Trek back properly. Let's hope so. Anyway guys, you have a great weekend. The sun's out, I'm out this weekend, and have a great weekend. And I've said that 3 times on that. You know, I'm just in a bloody good mood today after watching that. Yeah, bloody good. Anyway guys, have an awesome weekend again, and I'll see you next week on episode 2 of Strange New World. Live long and prosper.